Imagine a world where history wasn't written down. No books, no records, just stories passed from one generation to the next. Now, picture one man who changed it all, a curious traveler from ancient Greece who wandered the world, collecting tales of gods, wars, and civilizations. His name? Herodotus, the father of history. In this video, we're diving into the life, adventures, and legacy of the man who gave us the first ever history book. Why does his work still matter today? Stick around to find out. Herodotus was born around 484 BCE in Halicarnassus, a Greek city under Persian rule in what's now modern-day Turkey. He wasn't just a historian. He was a traveler, a storyteller, and a detective of the ancient world. His masterpiece, the Histories, is considered the first work of history in Western civilization. But what makes Herodotus so special? To understand that, let's explore his life and the world he lived in. Herodotus lived during the 5th century BCE, a time of epic clashes and cultural exchange. The Greek city-states like Athens and Sparta were rising in power, while the mighty Persian Empire, led by kings like Darius and Xerxes, dominated much of the known world. This was the era of the Greco-Persian Wars, a series of conflicts that shaped the ancient world, and Herodotus's writing. We don't know everything about Herodotus's life, but what we do know is fascinating. Born in Halicarnassus, he grew up in a melting pot of Greek and Persian influences. As a young man, he likely got caught up in local politics, which forced him to leave his hometown. This was a blessing in disguise. It sparked his lifelong journey of exploration. His travels weren't just about sightseeing. Herodotus was like a cultural detective, piecing together the customs, beliefs, and histories of different peoples. But how did he turn all this into the Histories? Let's find out. The Histories is Herodotus's magnum opus, a massive 9-book work that chronicles the Greco-Persian Wars and the cultures of the ancient world. The word history comes from the Greek historia, meaning inquiry or investigation. And that's exactly what Herodotus did. He investigated the past. But Herodotus wasn't perfect. Some of his stories, like giant ants in India or flying snakes, sound like tall tales. This has led some to call him the father of lies. So, was he a historian or a storyteller? Let's explore that debate. Herodotus is often called the father of history, but not everyone agrees. Critics, even in ancient times, accused him of making things up. The Roman writer Cicero praised him, but others, like the historian Thucydides, thought he was too focused on myths and gossip. Herodotus was the first to systematically collect and record information about the past. He cross-checked stories, consulted sources, and admitted when he wasn't sure about something. His accounts of the Greco-Persian Wars align with archaeological evidence and other sources, like Persian inscriptions. Some of Herodotus's tales, like gold-digging ants or Amazons, seem far-fetched. Were these myths he heard from locals, or did he embellish them? His love for dramatic stories, like the oracle predicting Croesus's downfall, makes the Histories read like an epic novel. The truth likely lies in the middle. Herodotus was working in a time before modern historical methods. He relied on oral traditions, and his goal wasn't just to record facts, but to understand human nature and the causes of events. This makes him a pioneer even if he got some things wrong. So how did Herodotus write history? His method was revolutionary for his time. He traveled to gather first-hand accounts, interviewed eyewitnesses, and compared different versions of stories. He'd often say, "This is what the Egyptians told me," or "I heard this from the Persians," showing transparency about his sources. Key innovations. Causality. Herodotus didn't just describe events, he asked why they happened. For example, he explored why the Persians and Greeks went to war, looking at cultural and political factors. Ethnography. His detailed descriptions of foreign cultures laid the groundwork for anthropology and cultural studies. Narrative. History. By blending facts with stories, he made history accessible and engaging, inspiring writers for centuries. Herodotus's work influenced later historians, like Thucydides and Xenophon, and his ideas about inquiry shaped the way we study history today. The Histories is still read in schools and universities, and his curiosity about the world continues to inspire explorers and scholars. Let's take a closer look at some of the most gripping stories from the Histories. These tales show why Herodotus's work is so captivating. The Battle of Thermopylae, 480 BCE. Herodotus vividly describes the stand of King Leonidas and his 300 Spartans against the massive Persian army. His account of their bravery became legendary, inspiring movies like 300. The Oracle of Delphi and Croesus. King Croesus asked the oracle if he should attack Persia. The oracle said, "If you do, a great empire will fall." Croesus attacked and lost his own empire. Herodotus uses this to warn about fate and overconfidence, Egyptian wonders. Herodotus was amazed by Egypt. He described the pyramids, the Nile's flooding, and even a labyrinth so complex it rivaled the Greek myths. His accounts are some of the earliest written records of ancient Egypt. These stories aren't just entertaining, they reveal Herodotus's knack for blending history, culture, and moral lessons. They make the histories a timeless read. Herodotus lived over 12,500 years ago, but his work is still relevant. Why? Because he asked big questions. Why do people fight? What makes cultures unique? How do our choices shape history? These are questions we still wrestle with today. Modern connections. Herodotus's curiosity about other cultures reminds us to embrace diversity and learn from others, especially in our globalized world. His focus on cause and effect in history helps us understand modern conflicts and their roots. His storytelling style inspires journalists, writers, and filmmakers to make history come alive. Herodotus wasn't perfect, but he was a trailblazer. He showed us that history isn't just about dates and battles, it's about people, their stories, and the world they create. Before we wrap up, here are some fun facts about Herodotus to impress your friends. Herodotus was exiled from Halicarnassus for political reasons, which pushed him to travel and write. He performed the histories aloud at public gatherings, like a modern-day TED Talk. He described a tribe that supposedly ate their dead parents as a sign of respect. Talk about cultural differences. Herodotus's work was so famous that Alexander the Great reportedly carried a copy of the Histories on his campaigns. Herodotus, the father of history, didn't just write a book. He created a way of looking at the world. His curiosity, his travels, and his stories gave us a window into the ancient past and a blueprint for understanding our own. Whether you see him as a historian, a storyteller, or a bit of both, one thing is clear: Herodotus's legacy lives on. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Herodotus, give this video a thumbs up, share it with a history-loving friend, and subscribe for more journeys into the past. Want us to cover another ancient figure? Let us know in the comments below. What's one thing you learned about Herodotus today that surprised you? Drop it in the comments and let's keep the conversation going.